Now, yesterday I looked at the fact that God is eternal. And so when we look at that fact that God is eternal and we ask ourselves again, well, what does that mean that God is eternal? And sometimes we ask the question, or children might ask the question, well, who created God? Nobody created God. God is eternal. And so since God is eternal, God has always existed. Well, does his existence come from? His existence comes from himself, because he is almighty and all-powerful. So he is self-existent. And the fact that he is eternal, no one created him. He's always been and he will always be. Now, those who are saved are going to live in eternity and they're going to live for eternity, but they haven't always existed. There's been a time that you and I were created. And the Bible says, in the beginning, God. And what did God do? God created the heavens and the earth, and God created all things, but God was in existence before then, because God has always existed and God is self-existent. Now, we were only going to exist because we were created, and so therefore we're not self-existent, we're not self-created. God has always existed, yet we are the created. Therefore we need God. God needs nothing because he is self-existent. If we're going to have our life sustained, our life is sustained by the power and the glory of God. Well, God doesn't need anyone to sustain him because he is self-existent and he is self-sustained. And so, therefore, God is all-powerful and almighty in and of himself. He is self-existent. He is self-sustained. He needs nothing. He needs no one. And sometimes we come up with the idea that God created us to fulfill him. So God needed us. Now, God didn't need us. He simply created us. First of all, he knew us before he created us, and he loved us, and he created us because he loved us even before he knew us. But he created us for the purpose of giving him glory. And so that's the very purpose of our lives, is to give God glory. But God doesn't need us. He is self-existent and he is self-sustained apart from us, whereas we are totally in need of God in every single way, shape, and form. Without God, we wouldn't be, and without God, we couldn't be sustained. But through him we are, and through him we're sustained. God is totally opposite. God needs nothing because he's God.